So you just finished a brand new collection of work and you are so excited to share this with the world and hopefully see some sales roll in, right? So you grab your phone, you're gonna film that YouTube video, that Instagram reel, that TikTok, write that email, but you open the app up and you've got nothing. No thoughts, head empty, kinda nothing. You have no idea what kind of posts would actually help you sell your work. And that's where I come in. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through 5 content formats that, if you use them properly, can double your sales and help you generate endless ideas of content that will actually help you sell your work and turn those casual fans into real customers. This video was also sponsored by me, so check out my book if you want, I guess. The first content format that I want to talk about is connecting with your audience based on a shared interest. I want you to honestly move past just talking about your art. Your art is great, it's amazing, that's what you want to sell, but sometimes your ideal audience doesn't know about your work yet, right? So it's important for us to meet them where they're at and connect with them based on a shared interest, value, or experience that you share with your ideal customer. What this does is it creates an entry point for folks that might not know that they want to buy your work. Your ideal customer is out there. They're swiping, right? They're searching, they're consuming content on social media all the time probably, but if you want to take an active role in the success of your business and in your own sales, you have to be willing to put your ego aside and meet your customer where they're at, rather than just posting what you always do and waiting for them to find you. Don't do the same thing that you've always done. Be active. Try to find your customers. Make content for them. Think about what they are searching for. So let's talk about what this looks like in practice. Imagine that you are a ceramic artist that makes planters. Instead of just posting photos of your ceramics, you could post things that try to meet your audience where they're at, again, and connect with them based on that shared interest, right? Which is plants. That might look like talking about why you started using your pottery skills specifically to make planters, or showing your audience your own plant collection, ideally, again, featuring your planters. The whole point of this is to create as natural opportunities as possible to do that call to action and get that sale. And you could even make content around telling the story of how you got into houseplants in the first place. What was your gateway drug plant, so to speak, right? For me, it was very much pothos. I have a lot of plants. That's why I did this example even. And I love talking about plants. If I was a ceramic artist, I would totally do that because that would be a very natural entry point for me. The folks that you want to reach aren't necessarily interested in ceramics yet. We're going to move them there. We're going to get them there. But first, we have to talk about what they actually are interested in. To start brainstorming content ideas that kind of fall under this umbrella, think about the other pieces of media, culture, or hobbies that are kind of spiritually connected to your work. And then use that shared interest to introduce them to your work, to present your work as a natural evolution or next step for this hobby or this interest. You're even kind of providing value or solving a problem with this solution, with this product of yours, right? And by the way, I have created a free PDF worksheet that goes along with this video, and the link for that will be in the description. Format number 2 is showcasing your products and telling the story of why you made it and who you made it for. I say this all the time, but people do not just purchase products, okay? They purchase feelings, emotions, stories, meaning. When you tell someone the story behind your work, you are giving them an additional reason to care beyond just the aesthetics. Yeah, the visuals of your work, the aesthetics, the experience is important, but the story behind it, the emotional core of the piece, is also really, really important. And if you can get folks to connect with that, all the better for it, right? Imagine that you are a jewelry designer and a big part of what you do is you take damaged heirlooms, pieces that are really important to your clients, and you breathe new life into them. Or maybe you make memorial pieces for folks that have lost someone really important, and that's a way to literally kind of carry your lost loved one with you wherever you go. In practice, for this example, this strategy might look a little bit like this. Maybe you show the process of restoring someone's family heirloom, and while you do that, you also talk about the meaning behind this piece, why they're getting it restored, what the motivation there is. If there's a really cool story to tell, then let's talk about that. Let's share it. You could even create other content that talks about how you go about creating an heirloom piece that's totally custom, that honors someone's loved one, what questions you might ask, what the design process looks like, how you weave in certain symbolism to really have that reflect that person's life and make it one of a kind. Sharing the story behind your work allows someone to understand, again, not just the aesthetic or even monetary value of your work, but the emotional value. And in the example that I just gave with the heirloom jewelry thing, you are telling the client's story because it's very much about them, but in other examples, you might also want to tell your story, right? Because your story is also equally impactful. Format number 3 is presenting your work as a solution to a problem that your audience has. This is by far the kind of most direct path to sales in terms of how easy it is to put a call to action in, but I know for a lot of you guys, like a lot of you watching this, you really struggle with trying to figure out what problem your work solves. So let's talk about that because it can absolutely be a challenge. I think it's important to remember that your work does not have to solve a kind of practical problem to be valuable. Obviously, that's great, right? If your work solves a practical problem, that's super cool. But your watercolor paintings do not have to solve climate change to be valuable and to solve a problem for your audience. Your work can solve aesthetic problems, even emotional problems. You could help someone work through grief or trauma, what have you. And you could even do your part to help solve a social problem, a problem much bigger than you and your work. If you are still feeling stuck here, and I know the word problem can feel really tricky, just take that word and throw it away. Just get rid of it. Just ignore it. It does not matter. Instead, if that's really challenging to do for you, think about what gap your work could fill in your customer's life. There is a hole in their heart. There is a gap in their life. There is an absence of something. It could be a feeling. It could be nostalgia. It could be hope, optimism. It could be, I don't know, a reminder that being multi-passionate is acceptable and exciting. Think about that absence. So here are some examples of how to frame your work as a solution to a problem or a way to fill a gap. Number 1, start with a specific frustration your ideal customer might have, and then position your work as what bridges that gap. Maybe you create super cute, extremely adorable Y2K inspired keychains and accessories. One problem that I have, like me personally, is that I can never find my keys. My tote bag that I carry with me to work is like a black hole. I don't know what's in there. It scares me, and I can never find my keys. So you could create content that tries to solve that same frustration for your audience by talking about how big your keychains are, how easy they are to find, and how they're super cute, such that you're gonna want to show them off. Like, it's good that they're big because it gives you more space to admire how nice they are, and it also makes your keys a lot easier to find. Number 2 is to think about the before and after of someone's life with your work in it, right? What changes for them when they consume your work, when they purchase your work? How does their life get better? How does it get better? Let's say that you make those same ceramic planters that I mentioned before. You could talk about how before, someone's plant collection felt scattered and random, and they were really frustrated with how shitty the plastic planters they were using were because they were like $5 on Amazon and they just weren't very good. But after adding your planters, every corner of their home feels really cohesive and intentionally curated. And because they're made so well with such great materials, you know, and your customer knows they are going to last, that they are worth using, that they make their life easier, actually. And number 4 is to talk about your work in contrast to the next best option. So, okay, I just want to give like a super quick a little disclaimer here, because I am absolutely not saying that you should shit on some other creative and their work, okay? That's not what I'm saying. Do not think that, okay? What I am saying is that the next best option for a lot of consumers, for a lot of your audience, is not another creative, okay? It is a generic, corporate, mass-produced solution. That is the alternative for a lot of people. The alternative to filling their home with your paintings, your gorgeous, handcrafted, meaningful art, is not like some other person. It's going to HomeGoods. It's going to Target. It's going to like Society6 or Shein or Temu or whatever, right? It's like, it's not someone else. It's a big company. I think that it is worth it to draw contrast there, because I never ever want you to be competing on price. I think it is always a mistake to compete on price. Number one, as a creative, there's no way that you're going to beat the price of some big faceless corporation that creates soulless, mass-produced creative work. That's just not possible. Instead of competing on price, which again, do not do. Like, make a promise with me right now, do not compete on price. Instead of trying to compete on price, I instead want you to compete on quality, on value, on story, on emotion. That's what actually matters. Your work is going to be more expensive than the alternative. That's almost always going to be true. But that's irrelevant if you provide a better quality experience, or if you produce an emotion for your customer that the competition can't possibly compete with. So let's do an example. Let's say that you make silver earrings, and actually recently you had a big faceless corporation like Shein or Temu or Amazon steal your design and start creating like counterfeit copies of your work. You could create content that's basically like, hey, let's compare my earrings to the $3 version that Shein made when they stole my design. And you could say, mine are made from sterling silver, they are heirloom quality, they're handcrafted. Shein's version is not made from sterling silver and will turn your ears green, and on top of that, on top of literally turning your ears green, they will break after the third use. So they're going to be gone forever. It's just going to be plastic in a landfill, whereas mine, again, are heirloom quality, and you are actually supporting me, an artist, not a thief and a large, faceless, multinational corporation. If you're a potter, you could talk about the differences between your handcrafted ceramics and mass-produced dishware. If you are a painter, you could talk about the difference between a home filled with the cheap, mass-produced art that you find at Target and HomeGoods versus a home filled with handmade, one-of-a-kind, totally unique original art. There are also a ton of different axes upon which you can kind of contrast and compare your work to your alternative. Things like quality differences, uniqueness, ethical considerations, emotional value, and even kind of practical benefits. Like, you know, not turning your ears green, for example. And finally, format number 5 is all about showing off positive reviews from past customers. So, in my opinion, when you get a really great positive review or testimonial, or in this case, social proof from a past customer, I really think that you should consider incorporating that into your content. Basically what this does, when you leverage social proof in this way by incorporating it into your content, you assure your potential customers that purchasing from you, spending their money with you, will not be a mistake. It will not be anything that they come to regret. You do not want your customers to be suspicious of you and your motives, and you can alleviate that, and you can actually actively build trust by sharing those reviews and those positive words and those great experiences. I think this is honestly especially important if the thing that you are selling is kind of high end, or if your audience is a group of folks that do not have a ton of disposable income, because those people are going to naturally think through every single purchase they make a little bit more. They're going to need more reassurance. They're going to be a little bit more skeptical, and they are going to require a little more convincing. And again, we are not trying to be misleading. That's not the point, right? We don't want to be scummy and bad. We are just trying to give folks the information they need, the positive reviews, the reassurance they might need to make that purchase with confidence and feel really good about it. And there are actually a few different ways that you can start incorporating this social proof, these positive reviews, into your content. Number one, you can actually follow up with customers after purchase and ask them to share photos or videos of your work, maybe on their wall, in their homes, on them if it's an accessory. A lot of brands will do an automated version of this where an email goes out a certain amount of days after they purchase something, but you can also reach out personally via someone's DMs or their email or whatever contact info you have for them. And number two is if you had a customer that did not have a good experience, if they had a bad time, you could share the journey of making that person right, of making them whole again. Listen, like, mistakes happen, right? We are not going to be perfect every single time, but it matters how you show up in those instances and how you make those customers feel good again. And I think also a lot of folks will feel reassured when they see that mistake and how you fixed it, because they're thinking to themselves, oh, even if something terrible happens, I know that this person will make me right. I know that they care about the experiences their customers have with their products and with their brand, and they will go the extra mile to make sure that I have a good experience. And number three, you can make it really easy and literally just share screenshots of DMs or emails of folks talking about your work positively, obviously with their permission. But this is really low lift, and it might work even better than the other two options because of how authentic it is. But that said, if you don't have that trust, or if the claims are really outrageous, people also might think that these are faked. So it's important to have like a name to the claim or a face to the claim if it's possible to do so. If you ever visit my website and you take a look at all of the paid resources that I offer for creatives on sales and marketing, you will see that I have testimonials literally everywhere. They're all over the place. I think it's important to not just have these positive reviews in your content, but also on your website. You want to hammer home for someone, hey, like, you're going to have a good experience. Look at all of these people that had great experiences. I promise I will deliver what I say I will. Here's how you can trust me, right? So it's not just words. It's literally examples of people that trusted you and had a good time. Friendly reminder that there is a free worksheet all about this video in the description if you join my email list. And if you want to learn more about how to turn casual fans into true paying customers, watch this video next. It'll be somewhere on the screen. I legit always forget where the next video will pop up. It's a problem. Yeah, all right. I will see you there. Bye.